Okay, here we are, and we're just about at the point where the potatoes are actually completely done. Okay, so as you can see, everything's starting to come together. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my milk. I use 2% milk. So I add that in, not too much at this point, because I want to make sure that I have plenty of room for my ham, the pound of bacon that I cooked off. And what I did was I chopped it up very fine, you know, so that it'll break up nicely in the soup. I have my 2 pounds of ham steaks, and those are ready to go. So they're all chopped up. We're going to give this a nice stir. Okay. Now, I did not throw away the grease. I'm going to utilize my grease to make my roux, which is very important for the flavoring process of bringing everything together. My family likes the soup kind of thick. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to begin to add in our ham. And then we're going to add in our bacon. Okay, and I have my oil heating up, and I'm going to show you how to make a roux really quick. I like to get every little bit of bacon in there because it's just so flavorful. Now, get this out of the way. Now I've got the oil heating up, and you can see all those beautiful bacon bits in there. You can just see everything coming together. I'm going to give this a nice stir and just get this all mixed in. And as you can see, now this is just a meal in itself, and that's the way that it's intended. I do know a lot of recipes don't put the ham in there, or maybe some Italian recipes actually use sausage. I like ham steaks. I just think that it comes together, it gives the soup a beautiful flavor. And if you haven't noticed, I didn't put any salt in, and the reason why I didn't do that is because of the bacon and the bacon fat. So we're just going to let this come up. We're letting that get hot. We're going to take some flour, and we're just going to sprinkle it. And as soon as you start to see it's not quite ready yet, you want a nice, good, violent foaming of your flour, because that's going to help bring your roux so you don't have issues with your soup breaking, as they call it. So we're almost there. We're going to kind of mix this in a little bit. It's getting nice and hot. So now what we're going to do, we're going to start to sprinkle in our flour. And if you don't know how to make a roux, well, here you are. I'm showing you how to do it. There's a lot of different ways that people go about doing it. You can use butter, clarified butter. I like to do it this way with the bacon fat and then incorporate it into my soup because it just adds so much flavor. And so you just begin to stir, and you're working your flour into your fat, and you want to get all the beautiful bits from the bacon, and you just want to get that up into the flour, stirring it constantly. You don't want it to burn. We're going to add a little bit more flour. Now it's pretty important that you have your soup hot when you add in your roux. So you want to keep an eye on that, and you don't want to add in your roux too soon. That's how you avoid the lumps. And you don't add it all in at once. You add it in a little bit at a time. You can see now it's starting to come together. It's starting to dry out a little bit. Your roux is beginning to dry out, so just stir and scrape. Oh, it smells delicious. Let it cook. You want to let it cook out a little bit. You want that flour to begin to cook. Now you can begin to see that this is a traditional roux. I don't add anything else to it, just the oil and just the bits of bacon that are left in the bottom of the pan. And you can use this for just a variety of different gravies. Turkey gravy for Thanksgiving, beef gravy if you're making steaks. You can take the drippings and make your gravy out of that. Now as you can see that it's really beginning to get nice and hot. So we know that our soup, everything's nice and hot. We're almost back to a rolling boil. And that's exactly what you're looking for. Absolutely perfect. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to let this simmer a bit, let this cook for another minute or two. And you can tell because it's done because they're just soft. You can just squeeze them or use a fork and it just squeezes very delicately under your hand. And then if you don't like the bay leaves, this is your opportunity to kind of take them and throw them out, put them off to the side. Nobody's going to eat them. All they are there for is just pure flavor. You can see all the beautiful, look at that, just ham and potatoes, little bits of bacon, little bits of celery in there. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to pull that off the flame. I'm going to go ahead and pull my pot forward. And then we're going to stir. Now here comes the fun part. We're going to thicken the soup. So now, give this one last little stir. And then you begin to stir your soup and just let it trickle in. Let your roux trickle into the soup. Now remember, like I said earlier, my family likes this soup kind of thick. So consistency is completely up to you. You just let that just dribble in a little bit at a time, constantly stirring to avoid the lumps. And in the meantime, it's getting hotter. And the end result is going to be just a beautiful, creamy soup. Just loaded with flavors. And we're starting to get to the bottom now. And we're going to add in a little bit more. We're going to keep stirring. And then we're going to add in a little bit more. And you can see the soup is really beginning to come together now. It's nice and thick, but it's not lumpy. It's very creamy. Now it's really up to you on how you want to do it, on how thick you want the soup. Some people like it really runny, some people like it really thick. That's the beauty of cooking. So I'm going to add in the rest of it. And now all we're going to do now is we're going to continue stirring. And if it seems like it's really thick, don't worry about it. I'll tell you why, because you can always add in more milk. You can add the milk and thin it down a little bit. So don't fret. But as you can see, the consistency of the soup. Look at that. There's no lumps. You can see all of the beautiful bits of bacon and the ham. And I wish you could smell it. But if you try this recipe, I can guarantee you that it's going to be an absolute family hit. Now what you want to do is you want to let this cook out for about 5 minutes. Cook all the starch out. But you have to keep a close eye on it if you made it kind of thick, because you don't want it to burn on the bottom, and it will. It'll burn really quick. So we have another leaf right here. We'll just take this out. Look how thick that is. Look how thick that is. It's just absolutely beautiful. Another leaf. Tons of just beautiful pieces of ham. It's just nice and creamy, no lumps. You make this at home on a cold, rainy night, and it is absolutely going to be a home run for the kids. Just letting that cook out. I'm going to bring in my ladle. Give it a nice stir. And there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, homemade potato soup. Look at that. You don't need anything else with this. It's just, that's just the way you want it, right there. You want it just like that. We're going to come over here. And we're going to sprinkle some sharp cheddar cheese right on top, just like that. And then you serve it with either Sara Lee or King's Hawaiian dinner rolls. I put them just like that. With a spoon on the side. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is homemade potato soup. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like the video, then give me a thumbs up. If you like the recipe, please give me a thumbs up. Stay tuned to other stuff and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button down below and the like button, and give me a thumbs up if you tried this recipe and you like it. Thank you, and you guys have a happy holidays, and we will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.